अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाजरीन, मेरा नाम मोहम्मद अहमद है और मैं आपको आपके अपने YouTube चैनल फिलोसोफिया 360 डिग्री में खुशामदीद कहता हूँ। CSS स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट में इंग्लिश का ये पहला लेक्चर है एंड दिस फर्स्ट लेक्चर इज अबाउट इंग्लिश ग्रामर यूजेज एंड सेंटेंस करेक्शन।
I believe that anyone in the world can learn any language including English. Because English is not an exception. English is simply a language just like Urdu, Punjabi, Persian, etc. But the problem for Pakistani students is that English is mandatory for them to seek good jobs in Pakistan. When it comes to civil services, CSS or PMS, then the candidate has to learn English in a very professional manner. To cut the long story short, CSS and PMS exams are the exams of English language, nothing else. English is not tough for you either if you are tough enough for it. But if you are not tough enough, then it will give you tough time. So my plan is to make it very simple. I will start from very simple rule and will move forward towards the complex rules of English grammar. If any student wants to have command on English language, he must have to do three things. First, learn the rules of English grammar. Second, conceptualize those rules. And third, practice those rules. In these lectures, I will deliver almost all the basic English grammar rules. So, without wasting any time, I will start from the rules of nouns and errors in the use of nouns. We all know that when one thing is spoken of, the noun is singular. When two or more than two things are spoken of, the noun is plural. After telling this, if I ask from any student that tell me how can we change a singular into a plural, he will definitely answer me that sir, we will add s or es into that noun to make it plural. I will say yes, you are right, but you are partially right. Your answer is partially correct because there are certain words in English language, there are certain nouns in English language in which we can only add s or es to make them plural. But there are certain other words in which we have to add some other principles, some other rules to make them plural. For instance, we have a word horse. We will add s in it and it will become horses, which is plural. We have a word lamb, L-A-M-B, lamb, and we will add s in it and it will become lambs, which is plural. But if the noun ends in sh, ch, eh, x or s, the plural is formed by adding es to the singular. As we have a word ASS, we have to add es in it because it is ending with s. We have a word box, we have to add es in it to make it plural because it is ending with x. Now the main thing here is that you have to take the concept. Concept is that if any noun is ending with sh, ch, eh, x or s, you have to just add es in it, no other thing. We have a word bench, it is ending with ch, we will add es in it and it will become benches, which is plural. Now another rule, if the noun is ending in f or fe, the plural is often formed by changing f or fe into ves. For instance, we have a word calf, calf. We will change F into VES, because we have a rule that if any noun is ending with F or FE, we will change it into VES to make it plural. We have another example of wolf, WOLF, which is ending with F. We will simply add VES in it. We have another example of knife, which is ending with FE, and we will simply add VES into it and it will become knives, which is plural. But there is an exception to this rule. The exception is that there are some words in English language which are ending with F or FE, but we still have to add S in them to make them plural rather than adding VES. First of all, these words are very few and you can conceptualize them by practicing them. For instance, there is a word cliff, CLIFF, which is ending with F, and we have to add S in it to make it plural. We have another word dwarf. We have to add S in it to make it plural. We have another word proof. We have to add S in it to make it plural. In the same way, we have a word roof. We have to add S in it to make it plural. But these words are very few. In this regard, another concept is that if the noun ends in O and the O is preceded by a consonant, then the plural is often formed by adding ES to the singular noun. Now question arises that what is consonant? Any alphabet which is not a vowel is a consonant. So if any noun is ending with O but is preceded by a consonant, then we will add ES in that noun to make it plural. For instance, there is a word buffalo, BUFFALO. We will add ES in it and it will become buffaloes. In the same way, we have word mosquito, MOSQUITO. We will add ES in it and it will become mosquitoes. In the same way, we have a word volcano, VOLCANO. We will add ES in it and it will become volcanoes. Now, in all these three words, the words are ending with O and they are preceded by non-vowel alphabets which are called consonants. In this concept, I have told you about two things. First, what is the difference between consonants and vowels, and second, how can we change a singular noun into a plural if it is ending with a vowel and it is preceded by a consonant. In the same way, there are some nouns which form the plural by a change of the inside vowel. For instance, there is a word foot and we have to change the inside vowels to make it plural. The plural of foot is feet. In the same way, there is a word man. We have to change its inside vowel to make it plural. In the same way, we have a word woman, which is a singular, and we have to change the inside vowel A into E to make it plural. We have a word mouse, MOUSE. We have to change the inside vowel O and U to make it plural. In the same way, we have word tooth. We have to change inside vowels double O into double E to make it teeth. When I am telling you these rules, it is very much possible that you are thinking that these rules are very simple, these rules are very easy, I know them already, I do not have to take them seriously. But keep in mind that students make mistakes while using these rules, so take them seriously. Now we are moving toward making a compound noun a plural. A compound noun is generally formed plural by adding s to the principal word. For instance, we have a word brother-in-law. Most of the students make mistake while making it plural, and they add s in the word law, but they have to add s in brothers. For instance, a singular word brother-in-law will be made plural by adding s in brother, which will become brothers-in-law. In the same way, looker-on will be lookers-on. Stepson would be step-sons. Court-martial would be courts-martial. Knight-errant would be knights-errant. Maid servant would be maid servants. So here the concept is that you have to add s in the principal word, in the main word, which is directing towards something. But there is an exception in this rule too. For instance, there is a word man servant. We have to change both the words to make them plural, man in men and servant in servants, to make them plural. Another word woman servant, we have to change both, we have to make both the words plural to make this word compound word plural. Women servants. Knight templar, knights templars. Lord justice, lords justices. Now the question arises that how would it be possible for us to remember all these differences? My answer is practice. If you want to remember all these differences, you have to make practice. You have to practice them thoroughly. Now we are moving towards very unique words. For instance, there is a word appendix. To change it into a plural, we have to make it appendices. We have word axis, we have to make it axis. We have word datum, its plural will be data. We have word dictum, its plural will be dicta. We have word focus, its plural will be foci. We have the word genius, its plural will be genuses or genii. We have word the medium, its plural will be media. We have word radius, its plural will be radii. We have word analysis, its plural will be analysis, but with e. We have word crisis, its plural will be crisis with e replacing I. We have word criterion, its plural will be criteria. We have word phenomenon, its plural will be phenomena. We have word thesis with I, its plural will be thesis with E. So now we are on rule 2 of using nouns. So there are some nouns which have the same form for the plural as for the singular. For instance, there is a word peace. It will be used peace in both singular and in plural forms. We have word pair. It will be used same in singular and in plural. In the same way, the word dozen, the word butter, the word score, the word yoke, the word brace, the word gross, the word 100, the word 1,000, the word sheep, the word deer, the word fish, the word swine, the word salmon. All these words will be used same as in singular and in the same way in plural. But there is an exception to this rule. The exception is that when of is used with these words, then we have to add s to make them plural. For instance, I brought 4 dozen of mangoes. This is an incorrect sentence because there is an of used with dozen. So correct sentence will be I brought 4 dozens of mangoes. If there is no of, then it will be the sentence that I brought 4 dozen mangoes. But if there is an of and we have used of with dozen, then we have to add s to make it plural. In the same way, there is a sentence, there are only 500 students in our college. So here of is not used. So this sentence will be there are only 500 students in our college. In the same way, 100 of men gathered to witness the stage performance. This sentence is incorrect because of is used after 100. So as we have learned that when of is used with these words, then these words will be made plural by adding s in them. So the correct sentence will be hundreds of men gathered to witness the stage performance. In the same way, we have a sentence, he died at the age of 4 scores. So here there is no of used after score. So this sentence is incorrect, and correct version of this sentence will be he died at the age of 4 score.
So now after this, we are now on the nouns which are only used in the singular way. For instance, furniture, offspring, scenery, information, poetry. These are those words which are always used in the singular way only. For instance, we have a sentence, he wrote good poetries. So this sentence is incorrect. The correct version of this sentence is he wrote good poetry, or we can use it as he wrote good poems. So poem can be changed into poems, but poetry cannot be poetries. In the same way, we have another incorrect sentence, which is this region is full of charming sceneries. This region is full of charming sceneries, which is incorrect because sceneries is not a correct word. The correct version of this sentence is this region is full of charming scenery. So we cannot use scenery as sceneries. Scenery will be used as singular and as plural in the same way with same spellings. On the other hand, there are some words which are plural in their form but always used in singular. For instance, words like physics, mechanics, mathematics, news, innings. These words are plural in their form, but they are in the real sense are singular words. For instance, we have a sentence that physics are his favorite subject. So physics are is incorrect sentence. Physics is a subject and it will be used as, or it will be written as physics, and being a subject, being one subject, we will use is after physics. So correct sentence will be physics is his favorite subject. Contrary to this, certain collective nouns such as poultry, cattle, workman, people, gentry are singular in their form
but they are used as plurals. For instance, poultry is in its form a singular word, but it is a plural. You cannot add s in it to make it plural because it is already plural. You will use cattle as a plural. You will use vermin as a plural. In the same way, the best example which can be given here is the example of using people. Most of the students make mistake while using people as a singular because people is a plural noun. So you cannot add s in it to make it plural because it is already plural. In the same way, gentry is. So for instance, there is a sentence, peoples are going to Agra. So you cannot use peoples. The correct version of this sentence will be people are going to Agra. But when you are using people as a common noun, it means a nation, but is used in both singular and plurals. For instance, there are many peoples in Asia, so it means there are many nations in Asia. For common noun, it is people, which is used both as singular and plural. But when you are specifically entitling some nation or some nations of any region, then you can use the word peoples for those nations, which is for nations. So you cannot use it as common noun. You can use it as nations, but you cannot use it as common noun. In common noun, it will be used people in the both ways, for plural and for singular. So now we are moving towards very interesting nouns which have two forms in plural, and each of their form have two separate meanings. For instance, we have a noun brother. It has two plurals. For instance, brothers and brethren. Brothers mean sons of the same mother. On the other hand, brethren means members of the same society. We have a noun cloth. It has two forms of plural. For instance, cloths and clothes. Cloths mean piece of kinds of cloth or pieces of kinds of cloth. On the other hand, clothes means articles of dress. In the same way, we have a word genius. When we use it as geniuses, it means man of genius, man of wisdom. On the other hand, it has a word plural genii, which means fabulous spirits of the air. In the same way, we have a word indexes. When we use it as indexes, it means tables of contents. When we translate the word index into its plural form indices, then it becomes, or it means that signs used in algebra. In the same way, we have a word staff. When we use it as a plural, so it has two forms, staffs and staffs. When we use it as staffs, it means sticks of poles, and when we use it as staffs, it means department in the army or a business, salaried employees taken collectively. Another rule is that when any noun is used as an adjective in a compound word, it is used in a singular way always. For instance, a 10 fuel, a 10 rupee note, it will not be 10 rupees note. A 2-year-old bird, it will not be 2 years old bird. An 8-day clock, it will not be an 8 days clock. A 3-mile race, it will not be a 3 miles race. So when we see some sentences, they will be like, I have a 10 rupees note. It is an incorrect sentence because we cannot use rupees with 10 when we are using the noun as an adjective in a compound word. So it will be I have a 10 rupee note. In the same way, we have another incorrect sentence that I saw a 3 years old child, which is incorrect because we are using a noun as an adjective in a compound word. So we will use a 3-year-old child. The correct sentence will be I saw a 3-year-old child. So now we have another very interesting rule about nouns. When we are dealing with proper nouns, material nouns or abstract nouns, then we know that they have not any plurals unless they are used as common nouns. If these are in their own form, then they will be used as singulars and they have no plurals. They are in themselves singulars and plurals too. But when we are using them in common nouns or as common nouns, then we will make them plurals. For instance, we take an example of material noun. Wine is a pleasant drink only in cold countries. So it will not be wines, it will be wine because it is used as material noun, and it is a fact that when a noun is used as its own property, it is used as singular, it has no plural. In the same way, we have an example of proper nouns that Austria is a country in Europe, which is proper noun. When Austria is used as proper noun, it will be used as Austria. But when we are using Austria as common nouns, then we have to add s in it to make it plural. Otherwise, in proper nouns, Austria is in itself singular and plural. For instance, when we are using it in common noun, we will make sentence as many Austrias can be contained in India. Now it is used as common nouns. Austria is proper noun and Austrias are common noun. So Austria in itself is singular and is plural, but Austrias is common noun, and when we are using Austria as common noun and we are going to make it plural, then we have to add s in it. In the same way, we have abstract nouns, which is goodness is a party of his conduct. So here goodness is abstract. We cannot use goodnesses when we are making it plural and it is used as abstract noun. But when we have to make it plural and we are using it as a common noun, then we have to add s in it, es in it. For instance, he did many goodnesses. He did many goodnesses. So there is a meaning of goodnesses is that good acts. So when we are using it as a common noun as a meaning of good acts, then we have to add es to make it plural. Otherwise, in the abstract noun, the goodness in itself is plural and it is singular. So for the comprehensive understanding of the usage of nouns, I have made some sentences for you. For instance, first sentence is the news are not true. As we have discussed in the grammar section that news is a singular noun. So the correct sentence will be the news is not true. In the same way, the second sentence is your hairs are grey. Hairs is a incorrect word or noun in itself. So when we are talking about one hair, we will use hair. When we are talking about many hair, we will use hair. So the correct sentence will be, your hair is grey. Politics are his chief interest. So politics in itself as a subject is a singular word. So we cannot use are after the word politics. So the correct sentence will be, politics is his chief interest. Fourth sentence is, his sheep are in the field. Sheep in itself is a plural word, so there is no need to add s in it to make it plural. So the correct sentence will be, his sheep are in the field. Fifth sentence is, there are a lot of fishes in this river. So there is a big mistake. When we are using a lot of before fish, we cannot add es in it because we have already made it plural. So the correct sentence will be, there are a lot of fish in this river. Our sixth sentence is, the sceneries of Murray are wonderful. As we have discussed in the grammar section, that scenery is in itself a singular word, and it can be used as a plural too. So we cannot add es in it to make it plural. So the sentence correct will be, the scenery of Murray is very wonderful or is wonderful. The seventh sentence is, she bought some stationaries. In the same way as we have corrected the word scenery, we have to correct the word stationaries. Stationaries is not a correct word. It is also belong to the family of scenery, to the family of hair, to the family of news. These words are in their own selves are used as plural, and they have a singular sense. So she bought some stationery. Stationery will be used, and it cannot be made plural by adding s or es. Our eighth sentence is, he gave me a 10 rupees note. As we have discussed in the grammar section, that when a noun is used as an adjective, then we have not any rule to make it plural by adding s in it. So we are bound to keep it as simple as, he gave me a 10 rupee note. When any noun is used as adjective in a compound word, then we have to take it as a singular. We cannot use s in it, or we cannot add s in it to make it plural. He gave me a 10 rupee note. Now we have our ninth sentence, I take pain over my work. Pain is not incorrect, but when pain is used in this particular sentence, it has become incorrect. I take pain over my work. It is a problematic sentence, because when we are using it as a simple pain, then it is correct. But when we are taking it as a thing which is burdensome for us, we have to add s in it, and it will become I take pains over my work. In the same way, we have another sentence number 10. He issued order to release him. Now, order is not incorrect, but when we are using order in the form of something which is given by the government or given by some authority, then we have to add s in it, and the correct sentence will be he issued orders to release him. Our 11th sentence is he lost his trouser. So we cannot use trouser while talking about trousers. One single trouser or many trouser. In both ways we have to use the word trousers. So the correct sentence will be he lost his trousers. Our 12th sentence is we have read many poetries. As we have mentioned in the grammar section that poetries is not a correct word. Poetry is a correct word. We cannot make poetry plural by adding es in it. So the correct sentence will be we have read many poems. Our 13th sentence is he has given up his study. So you cannot give up your study because it is just a word which is used in the informal way. When we are using it, we have to say that he has given up his studies. Our 14th sentence is the room has no furnitures. Furnitures is not a correct noun because we cannot add s in furniture to make it plural because furniture in itself has the characteristics of being plural. So the correct sentence will be the room has no furniture. Our 15th sentence is 10 miles are a long distance. When we are talking about 10 miles, then we have to consider that the verb or the helping verb which is to be used after miles is directly linked with the first word, the subject, which is 10. So 10 miles is a long distance. 10 miles in itself is a unit, and one unit will be denoted by or will be linked with the singular form, and the correct sentence will be 10 miles is a long distance. R will not be used here. Our 16th sentence is he gave me many advices. So advices is not a correct word. When you are talking about many pieces of advice or the many pieces of anything regarding wisdom, so you cannot use the word advice to make it plural as advices. You have to use it as pieces of advice. So the sentence will be he gave me many pieces of advice. Our 16th sentence is we have many works to do. As we have mentioned earlier in the 16th sentence that we cannot use advice as advices, but we have to take it as many pieces of advice. In the same way, we have to use many pieces of work to do in this sentence. So the correct sentence will be we have many pieces of work to do. In the same way, we have another sentence number 18, that he has an urgent business at home. When we see this sentence does not look incorrect, but it is incorrect, as we have an urgent business at home. We cannot have any business at any time. Business means a prolonged project which is sustained anywhere, which has some place, which has some territory. So while in this sentence it is used as a work, as a simple piece of work, then we have to use a piece of business. So the correct sentence will be he has an urgent piece of business at home. Our ninth sentence is the chair's leg is broken. This is not correct. The correct sentence is the leg of the chair is broken. In the same way, 20th sentence is the book of Khalid is lost. The book of Khalid is not correct. Correct sentence with proper usage of noun will be Khalid's book is lost. We have a sentence number 21st. The United States are a rich country. United States is a country with many states. So when we are using the United States, we have to consider it as a country, as one country. So the correct sentence will be the United States is a rich country. In the same way, the last sentence is the United Nations have done nothing for the people of Palestine. So here United Nations is singular in the same way as the United States was. So the correct sentence will be the United Nations has done nothing for the people of Palestine.
I hope this lecture has benefited you. My ambition is to promote education. You can also become part of this journey. For this, subscribe my channel. Thank you. Pakistan Zindabad.